Hey y'all, this is Amanda and welcome back to my Texas Zone 8A garden. And today we are going to be focusing on one of my favorite, most interesting blooms in my entire garden, and that is Celosia. Now, I have found that a lot of people either love Celosia or hate Celosia. It has very bold, bright, enthusiastic colors. It has a very interesting shape, very unique in a garden. And so those bold colors and those unique shapes can be very adverse to some people, but then also just loved by others. So Celosia is kind of a spinoff of the Greek word for burning, and I think that's very appropriate considering that Celosia has kind of, some of its shapes have a very flame candle-like shape, and its colors tend to be very bold. So Celosia is also known as wool flower. That's just kind of the look of its particular blooms, and it is part of the amaranth family. And if you know anything about amaranth, that is a grain that is quite frequently used as kind of an edible source. However, Celosia blooms are not edible. What they are prized for is their leaves. Their leaves are actually edible, and in a lot of countries, particularly the African countries, Celosia is harvested, the leaves are harvested, and they're utilized kind of like spinach. It has kind of a spinach taste to it. The leaves are harvested very young before the blooms actually form. Once the blooms form, the leaves are kind of bitter and not tasting well. So they are prized for their actual leaves in some countries as opposed to their flowers. And those leaves are really known for having tons and tons of minerals and lots of vitamins, which is also one of the reasons I think it's fun to toss Celosia leaves into compost bins if you're someone who does composting. So Celosia is native to the East African area, Mediterranean zones. It loves really hot, dry conditions, and it really thrives in the worst part of the heat in summer. It does not like wet feet, so it doesn't do as well in clay, heavy clay. However, I do grow in Zone 8A, North Texas, and we have a lot of clay in this area. And I have found that my Celosia do just fine as long as I loosen up the soil, add a little bit of an amendment, and then plant the Celosia. Celosia is an annual in most zones. However, in zones 9 through 11, it's kind of a short-lived perennial, so it might last you 2 to 3 years. Now, I do say that Celosia, especially one of the varieties we'll talk about later, it very easily reseeds itself throughout your garden. So that's something to consider. I love that my Celosia reseeds itself. It's just one less step that I don't have to do each season. And so it does great, and I think that's wonderful. I will say that the seedlings are very easily identified as the stems tend to be a color like a yellow or an orange or red. So it's very simple to pull up any seedlings that you don't want in particular areas. Now, if you do not want Celosia to reseed in the garden, all you have to do is when it blooms, once those blooms are starting to age out, go ahead and cut off those aging flowers. Do not allow them to brown on the stems because that's when they will release all their seeds into your garden. So Celosia has a wide variety of bloom colors and leaf colors. Celosia is available in greens, yellows, reds, oranges, yellows, burgundies, purples, pinks, a wide variety of colors, and their leaves are actually available in a wide variety of colors. You can kind of get greens, blue-green colors, chartreuse, yellow leaves, burgundy purple leaves, which is really kind of fun. So you can get a wide array of mixes of bloom color and leaf colors throughout the Celosia varieties. Celosia also comes in a wide variety of interesting shapes, anywhere from like feathery wheat-looking candle flames to almost like a brain, almost coral-looking shape, which I absolutely love and is my favorite. All right, so there are 3 types of Celosia. So let's go through those 3 types together. Okay, the first variety is called Cockscomb, and you might see that on a lot of packaging, and I think that gets confused as it can be referred to as all types Celosia, but it's just one particular variety. And that variety is the ones that look like brains or coral type and even the fan type of Celosia. Those varieties are known as Cockscomb. They tend to be about 12 to 36 inches in height, And they tend to have the really broad, large blooms up to like 8-10 inches for one bloom. They are also so big and tend to be so heavy and top heavy that they do need to be staked throughout their gardening experience. The next variety of Celosia is wheat type, and that is the variety that tends to spread like wildfire throughout your garden. It readily seeds very easily. There is not as much of a selection of in colors of this particular variety. It kind of sticks to the main like yellow, orange, kind of magenta, red tones. That's where it kind of sticks. There's not much variety after that. These tend to be about 12 to 32 inches in height. I will say that this variety is a variety that grows more through the summer and longer into the fall than other varieties. So that's something that's really useful if you're looking to have them in your garden for quite a while. And the last variety is called plumed. And these are the ones that I think look more like a little bit more like Dr. Seuss looking ones. They tend to have multiple stalks coming from one particular plant instead of just a single stalk. And they tend to be about 8 to 24 inches tall. So this is a little bit more of a shorter variety. The plumed also come in bright, bold, unique colors. Now, Celosia are great as cut flowers. That's one of the main reasons I grow them. I find that they add some very interesting texture to a traditional cut flower garden. And I also find that they're very long lasting in the vase. I do also feel that they do really great as dried flowers. However, they don't tend to retain their color as a dried flower. They tend to become more of like a wheat, beige looking color as they dry. So let's talk about some different care that we need to provide for Celosia. They tend to be mostly a hands-off kind of bloom. They don't need a lot of focus on them or a lot of babying. I will say they like a nice balance between dry and moist. They don't want their roots to be really, really wet, but they don't want to get super, super dry. So they do just need the occasional watering throughout maybe your rainy season. I sometimes will go a couple of weeks without some rain, so I'll give my Celosia some water. However, through the hottest part of the summer, they do need consistent water. I suggest watering them every 2 to 3 days, about an inch of water. You can go longer or shorter depending on what works best for your particular garden. They are kind of a drama queen. When they want water, they will just totally flop over, fall over and wilt. And then you know, oh, let me go get some water. And you can get out there very quickly and add water and they will perk up very quickly. Celosia do benefit from deadheading or pruning, and so that is something that you can do along the way. Once you have a bloom, if that bloom starts to fade, go ahead and cut it down. Cut it to maybe leave 2 or 3 sets of leaves at the base of the stem and cut above a set of 2 leaves, and you should get multiple stalks coming up after that. Planting Celosia is pretty simple. You want some well-draining soil. I tend to dig up any clay that I might have in that area, replace it with a little bit of potting soil and compost, and then plant my Celosia. They do like just a slow release fertilizer added. I don't feel like they have to be fertilized a whole lot after that, as long as you have added a slow release fertilizer when you are planting them. These are also excellent for containers, especially if you get some of the shorter varieties. I think look really, really great in containers. So that's something to consider as well. Now, you can buy Celosia at your local nursery. You can buy them already blooming, ready to go, seedlings, the whole shebang. And that's great. And I do that every year as well. And you can also start them from seed. They're very easy to start from seed. And I also start them from seed as well. I find that the stuff I see at the nurseries tends to be a shorter variety, tends to be more of the plumed or wheat type varieties. And the seeds I grow tend to be more the Cockscomb varieties, which I actually love the most because I think their shape is very interesting. So I tend to grow a lot of those from seed. If I haven't mentioned, I need to mention, they do require full sun. I mean, at least 8 hours up to 12 hours a day. They need full, hot, full-on sun. They do okay in semi-sun areas, but they definitely do much better in full sun. Okay, so we've talked about the 3 different types of Celosia. So now I want to talk to you guys about the seeds that I'm going to be starting right now. Okay, I was kind of laughing at myself when I was laying out my Celosia seeds to get started because they're all Cockscomb. I think almost every single one is Cockscomb. There might be a wheat variety in here. I'm just really drawn to that brain kind of coral look. I think it's so cool, so unique. I've never found any other bloom that is anywhere near what that is. And so I do grow a lot of those so that I can harvest them and bring them in for my floral arrangements. Now, some of these I've grown before and some of them are new to me. I did notice that this year I did focus on a lot of red. So I'm going to do 3 red varieties right off the bat, but talk to you about what's different about each one. The first one is called Cockscomb Celosia Tornado Red, and it's from Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds. And this guy's an annual known for its large, dense combs, have brilliant garnet and violet tones that shimmer like crushed velvet. I know, right? It's gorgeous. Holds its rich color well when cut, which is amazing as well. So these sprout in about 14 to 21 days. The ideal temp is 65 to 70 degrees for sprouting. So my house tends to be kept at about 70 to 72 degrees. So when I plant these or start all these seeds inside, I am not going to be starting them on a heat mat because my house kind of is the correct ambient temperature for that anyway. Celosia seeds do not need a light to germinate, so we will do a light dusting of soil over the top of them. But these are big, bold, gorgeous, large blooms. I'm really excited to grow them. So that's the first red. Now the second red is called Celosia Chief Red Flame, and I believe this is also one of the Cockscomb varieties. This one is from Botanical Interest. These are about 16 to 30 inches tall. They're perfect for bouquets, and their cockscomb, or the bloom, tends to be about 2 to 7 inches wide. So they can get really, really big if need be. This particular variety says about 7 to 18 days to emerge for the seedlings. And then the last red variety I'm growing this year is called Cockscomb Orient number 2, and that's from Baker Creek. And this is a very short cockscomb variety. So these are dwarf cockscomb, feature massive lipstick red crests. The tidy, busy plants average just 8 inches tall and bear impressive, tightly woven, wrinkled heads about 8 inches or more across. So these are going to be a nice short variety, more compacted. This is a variety that I want to include in some containers. So I'm growing several of these that I can enjoy throughout the summer and into the fall of this particular variety. This variety sprouts in about 14 to 21 days. So those are the 3 red ones that I'm growing this year. Now, I am growing also 2 orange varieties. Let's go through those. One of those is brand new to me this year. The first one is Cockscomb Orange Peach, and that is also from Baker Creek. It is a stunning, large, very deeply folded, crusted type cockscomb ranging from apricot to coral pink, which I was just really obsessed with that. I like colors that kind of have a range of color because then I can use them in different color schemes for my floral arrangements. So this one is about 14 to 21 days to sprout, and I believe this is a taller variety, but I'm not quite sure. The next one is called Orange Queen Improved Celosia, and this one is about 36 to 40 inches tall. 36 to 40 inches tall, and it is about 90 to 120 days to bloom. It germinates in about 8 to 14 days at about 70 to 80 degrees, which I think that'll still be fine with no heat mats. One thing you can do is, start your seeds, and if you're really not seeing anything going after about 4 to 5 days, you can go ahead and put a heat mat underneath them and get that kind of boosted going a little bit more. But I'm excited to grow the Orange Queen Improved and this one's from Johnny's Selected Seeds. Now, the last 2 varieties I'm growing are pink, and the first one is called Sunday Bright Pink Celosia. This is about 30 to 40 inches tall. It is comes to fruition in about 85 to 100 days. Did notice this has Sunday Bright Pink has a 99% germination rate, which that's amazing. And this one does germinate in about 8 to 14 days as well. So this will be really fun to grow kind of this beautiful pink tones. This, I will say, it's only 25 seeds in this packet. I think I paid a little bit more. I'll drop the price for this one below. I'm always wary when I see a low seed count, because that means I probably paid a lot of money for that particular seed. Like this next one from Baker Creek is called Celosia Early Rose. It's kind of a medium bright pink, and it's 50 seeds for $3.50. But one thing to remember about Celosia is you can collect all of these seeds. I do have a video on that you can look up on my channel. You can collect all these seeds, save them for next year, or just allow it to reseed itself in your garden. This early rose one is a beautifully crusted Cockscomb type Celosia from Japan in a stunning hot magenta color. Plant stands 3 to 4 feet tall, and vibrant heads feature up to half a foot across, so 6 inches across. Try I think that one sounds good. This one sprouts in about 14 to 21 days, and its ideal temp is anywhere from 65 to 95 days. So the Celosia that reseeds itself in my garden, it starts to sprout in mid-spring, so which is great. And then it will continue to grow and grow and grow throughout the fall and into throughout the summer and into the fall. I will also start multiple sets of Celosia as we're going. I'm going to start a set now that I'll probably enjoy and harvest in August, and I'll probably set a second set maybe at the end of July into August that I can harvest later on in the fall. All right, so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to get all of those seeds started. Let me show you what seed sets we're going to use today. Okay, so we're going to be utilizing my Vigo seed starting trays. I did invest in these. I guess I actually invested in them last fall, but I didn't start using them until the beginning of this year. And basically it's a set of 8 seed cells, and then it comes with its own top, specialized top. Goes on like this, and what happens is the center seed cell right here is just like a little platform, and it has little channels to each of the 8 seed cells. So the idea, and with the way this is at the top, you pour water in this top hole of the lid, and there's a hole at the bottom of it, and the water drips onto the middle platform and funnels out to your seeds. So it doesn't disturb your seeds, it waters everything evenly. So it's supposed to be really great. The other thing that's really great is it has air slits. So it has openings all the way around the seedlings, 4 openings around each seed cell, and that allows for oxygenation of the roots and keeps them from becoming root bound as well. And I've had really great luck with them so far. They have a nice large hole at the base, so you can stick your finger and pop the whole seedling out. Works really, really good. I do feel that they are a little pricey in my opinion, and so that's why I had also invested in some of these Amazon trays, which were 1/3 of the cost. I don't think I've used these long enough to say which ones I like better. I do feel that the Amazon trays are easier to use in my opinion, because the Vigo trays do not come with like a tray that you have pour the water in. So you have to come up with your own tray, and a lot of my seedling trays are broken, my big ones, so I'm just going to be using some tops from like aluminum foil serving dishes today. Whatever works. And so I'm just going to be using this, and that'll hold the water in it, which works best. So what's interesting about the Vigo is you have to buy the container separate. You have to buy the top separate, and now you have to buy like the tray that holds them all separate. So I don't love that. I'd rather it just all packaged together for a nice, neat price. And I do think that the price is a little hefty. Now, these are solid. These are solid plastic. These are going to last you a lifetime because these are such a bold, strong plastic. Same with the lids. These are very strong. These are not like wimpy looking plastic or anything. So that's one thing that I think that's the reason the Vigo is more of an investment up front, is because they're forever pieces. They're forever seed starting trays. Whereas these Amazon ones, I bet I get 3 to 4 years out of them, and then they're probably done. So let's go ahead and get all these filled up and seeded. Okay, so we've got all of the Celosia planted up. They're only planted about 1/8 of an inch deep, so you're barely, poking a hole just slightly below the surface and then putting the soil on top of it. I find Celosia seeds a little bit more difficult to plant because they're so tiny and they literally blow away with the fan above me, and it's hard to only get a couple to stick your, I just find them difficult. Find them a little bit annoying in my opinion. But we've got them all planted up. I planted them up in a standard potting soil called BM7 that I've been utilizing from homegrown in Farmersville. It does have some pieces of bark, so I just make sure that that bark is not at the top and not on top of the seed, so that's easy for them to sprout. And then I am watering them from below. This is the thing that bothers me about the Vigo trays. It did not come with like a water retention tray, so I just have a couple of other trays here, and everything doesn't fit right. And yeah, like this is an hors d'oeuvre serving plastic tray from the Dollar Tree. You know, everything doesn't fit correctly. It is what it is. I guess I'm going to have to invest in some of those the trays to go on the bottom of the Vigo ones, just so I don't have wasted space, because I don't have a lot of extra space. But so the next thing is put the tops on all of them, and then I can add water to the center area to water all of the seedlings from the top. It's not necessary to do that because I am allowing just the water to soak up from the bottom on all of these, and so that will work, you know, just fine regarding that. So basically I'll get them all set up under the lights, and they don't need light to get germinated. However, I just go ahead and set it up that way because it's easier, and I'm more likely to pay attention to them if there is a light on. So let's go ahead and get that set up. Okay, so we have them set up. Now, once they germinate, I will take them the lid off, put the lid on the bottom, and put the seedlings on top so they're much closer to the light over here. Got all of those set up, looking good. Remember, we're not going to do these on a heat mat because the ambient temperature is appropriate within my house. Did want to show you all the marigolds are coming up. Really great luck on the sugar and spice, which is what people said they had some struggle on, so I'm feeling good about that. The orange Hawaii. The Starfire is looking good. The Spun Orange is looking good. The Kilimanjaro does not have as much germination, as high of a germination rate. And then this one right here is the Mission Yellow. And then I do have a whole bunch of the zinnias coming up. These are the Persian carpet zinnias. These are the giant flowered whites. And here they're coming slowly. The queen limes are much slower than the other varieties on getting started. So, but they are coming slowly but surely. This guy is the Queenie Lemon Peach. I've had about half of them germinate, and they're getting kind of tall. You can see them running into here. So I'm about to have to pull this. I hope I get more of that sprout. And then this particular variety is the Queen Lime Blush, which is taking a little bit longer as well. Definitely the Queen Lime varieties are taking longer than the other varieties. But yeah, all the seedlings are going really well. I'm going to need to do a video in the next week or so showing you how I thin all of these out and how I fertilize them throughout the process. But yeah, everything's looking good. Okay, so we're good. I'm excited to have all the Celosia started or ready to go. Once again, I'll start these now, but I'm probably going to also start them maybe into July, beginning of August, so that I have another round of blooms before the fall cool weather. These are all about 90 to 120 days to bloom. So you just need to count back from your first frost date and count backwards from there. I like to grow until about the second week in November. That's when things kind of start fizzling out at that point. And also I'm ready to be done at that point. So I just count back mid-October, mid-September, mid-August. There's my 90 days. So then I know that I'm going to get blooms before the end of the season. I hope you guys have enjoyed these last few videos going over in detail about some of the flowers. I find a lot of times that I just plant out the flowers and I don't really talk to you all about them. And so these are more designed to be more educational videos that you can come back and reference at different points in time when you choose to grow what I've done so far, the zinnias, the marigolds, and the celosia. I'm also going to be doing one on sunflowers coming up in a week or so, and then following that I'm going to do one on rudbeckia and some other perennials, which I think will be fun. So if there's another type of seed that you're interested in and growing and you want more information on it, had a lot of requests for Lisianthus. I haven't had tons of success with Lisianthus, but I'm certainly willing to do a video to show you guys what I have done in the process in the past for that. But if you have another seed that you're wanting to know more, or another plant that you're wanting to know more information about, or you would like a more in-depth video, make sure you drop that below and let me know. All right, you all, as always, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you know my latest videos are up. As you know, I do not post on any particular schedule, so if you want to know when a video is posted, you do need to hit that little notification bell, and basically your phone or your iPad will send you a little just reminder that a video has come along. And then you can also check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, she's Matt Gardner or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.